Hello everyone, I am Usha Rajesh Sharma and you are watching School Inspires। दोस्तों, मैं आज का वीडियो आगे बढ़ाऊं इससे पहले मैं आज आप सभी का शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहती हूं कि आप लोगों ने मेरे चैनल को प्यार दिया है। आप वीडियोस देखते हैं, मुझे व्यूज़ मिल रहे हैं, आप लाइक कर रहे हैं, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आई एम ग्रेटफुल टू ऑल ऑफ यू। और अगर आपने अभी तक चैनल सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज़ चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिएगा, ये मेरी छोटी सी रिक्वेस्ट है। और जब आपको वीडियो पसंद आता है तो प्लीज़ वो लाइक ज़रूर दबाइएगा और कमेंट करके मुझे बताइएगा कि आपको उस वीडियो में क्या चीज़ अच्छी लगी। और या फिर अगर आप चाहते हैं कि कोई पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक के ऊपर वीडियो बने तो मेरे साथ वो भी आप कमेंट सेक्शन में शेयर कीजिएगा। ठीक है, तो चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। हमारा जो शरीर है वो एक कॉम्प्लेक्स मशीन है, ठीक उसी तरह जिस तरह से आप कंप्यूटर को देखते हैं। आप कंप्यूटर पे काम करते हैं, उसके अंदर हार्डवेयर है, सॉफ्टवेयर है, ठीक इसी तरह से हमारी बॉडी में भी हार्डवेयर है और सॉफ्टवेयर भी है। कंप्यूटर कैसे बनता है, उसके क्या पार्ट्स हैं, मदरबोर्ड है, ये सब तो आपको मालूम है, लेकिन हमारी बॉडी के अंदर क्या क्या है, क्या इसके बारे में डिटेल में आपको मालूम है? आपको पता है जो हमारी ये जो कॉम्प्लेक्स मशीन है, जो इतना विशालकाय जो शरीर हमारा है, वो किससे बना हुआ है? आपको जानकर आश्चर्य होगा कि वो इतनी छोटी छोटी सी कोशिकाओं से मिलकर बना हुआ है, जिन्हें कि आप इस आंखों से देखकर चश्मा लगा के भी आप नहीं देख सकते। उसके लिए आपको माइक्रोस्कोप की जरूरत पड़ती है। तो हमारा जो शरीर है ह्यूमन, चाहे वो ह्यूमन बॉडी हो, एनिमल्स की बॉडी हो, प्लांट्स की बॉडी हो, हर एक की जो बेसिक फंक्शनल यूनिट है वो है सेल। ठीक उसी तरह से जैसे कि जब आप बिल्डिंग बनाते हैं तो बिल्डिंग किससे बनी होती है? छोटी 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 ईंटों से मिलकर के बनी होती है, चाहे वो कितनी ही बड़ी इमारत हो, उसके पीछे क्या है? एक छोटी सी ईंट है या फिर एक छोटा सा ब्लॉक है। ठीक उसी तरह से हमारे शरीर के जो बुनियाद है वो भी एक सेल पे टिकी हुई है। और आपको ये जानकर आश्चर्य होगा कि हमारे इस शरीर के अंदर लगभग 30 ट्रिलियन सेल्स होती हैं। और अब आप सोच सकते हैं कि इतनी छोटी छोटी सेल्स, उस सेल के अंदर भी कई सारे ऑर्गेनल्स होते हैं। अब आप सोचिए, इतनी छोटी सी सेल जिसको हम देख भी नहीं सकते हैं और उसके अंदर भी ऑर्गेनल्स हैं, तो वो दुनिया कितनी रोमांचक होगी। आप जानना नहीं चाहेंगे उसके अंदर क्या क्या है? मुझे लग रहा है कि आपकी क्यूरियोसिटी बढ़ रही है और आप उसके बारे में जानने को बेहद उत्सुक हो रहे हैं। तो ठीक है, मैं आपके और आपके इस उत्सुकता के बीच में नहीं आऊंगी और मैं जल्दी से शुरू करती हूँ वीडियो का आगे का हिस्सा। और इसमें आज हम सीखने वाले हैं या हम जानने वाले हैं प्लांट सेल के बारे में, यानी जो पौधे हैं, वो पौधे जिससे बनते हैं, वो कोशिकाएं, वो सेल्स कैसी होती हैं और उसके भीतर क्या क्या होता है। चलिए सफर शुरू करते हैं। There are 8 major characteristics of living beings, and these are growth, fixed lifespan, nutrition, excretion, responsiveness to stimulus, cellular structure, respiration, and reproduction. Today in this video we are going to study about the plant cell. So first I am going to explain the characteristics of the plant cell and one after the other about the various organelles which are present inside the plant cell. Okay, so let us see the characteristics first. So first of all, what they are made up of. The plant cell has eukaryotic cells. Now you would ask, what is eukaryotic cell, right? So eukaryotic cells are the cells which have a well-defined nucleus. It means they have a nuclear membrane, they have a nucleolus, and there is some fluid which is known as nuclear fluid or the nucleoplasm. Size of the eukaryotic cells ranges from 5 to 100 micrometers. That is, they are comparatively large and have more than one chromosome. Right? They are present in higher advanced unicellular and as well as multicellular plants and animals both. Now, having known about the eukaryotic cell, there must be question raising head in your brain. That is there any other type of cell? And if yes, then what is that? So, other than the eukaryotic cells, there are prokaryotic cells. The prokaryotic cells are comparatively less advanced, right? Their size they are smaller in size. They vary from 1 to 10 micrometers, and they are without nuclear membrane and they are direct in contact with cytoplasm. Eukaryotic cells contain a single chromosome. They have defined regions which have the cytoplasm which contains DNA, which is called as nucleoploid. Membrane-bound organelles like mitochondria are absent in eukaryotic cells. Plants are multicellular. It means there are more than one cells present in plants. In plant cells, cell wall is present. Plant cells perform photosynthesis. There are large vacuoles present in plant cells. Now let us study about the cell organelles. A plant cell has various cell organelles. They are cell wall, like the outermost covering of the plant cell is known as cell wall. Then there are mitochondria which are inside the plant cell. Plant cell contains chloroplast which contains the pigment chlorophyll. Then there is a liquid fluid inside the cell which is known as cytoplasm. There are ribosomes, then endoplasmic reticulum. We will study in detail about each of them. Then there is a centrally located, there is one nucleus, okay, and a nucleolus. Within the nucleus, inside the nucleus has the nucleolus. Then there is a cell membrane which is inside the cell, second layer of the cell. And then vacuoles are present there, the lysosomes and Golgi bodies. Now we will study one by one the structure and function of these various organelles. First of all, the cell wall. So cell wall, the characteristics of cell wall is non-living material, okay, and it is freely permeable. It is made up of cellulose and it maintains the shape and protects the cell, and it withstands pressure and counterbalances the vacuole pressure. Next comes the cell membrane. So cell membrane is living. It is extremely delicate. It is made up of lipid bilayer. Now the question is, what is this lipids? That I'll explain to you. Lipids are organic compounds that are fatty acids or their derivatives like natural oils, waxes, steroids, etc. Now we will say, what is this steroid? So steroids are the organic compounds with nuclear structure which have 4 rings of carbon atoms, that is 3 6-membered and 1 is 5-membered. They include many hormones, vitamins, alkaloids, etc. Now the hormones. What are these hormones? Hormones are regulatory substances which produced in an organism. They are produced by specific parts of the body and transported to the body fluid, like sap or the blood. As in the human body, the blood circulates in the same manner. This sap is circulated. Their function is to stimulate specific cells or tissues into the action. Hormones can be synthetic substances with similar effects as plant or animal hormone. Now alkaloids. What are the alkaloids? Alkaloids are nitrogenous inorganic substances of plant's origin which have various pronounced physiological actions on the human beings. They are used in they are drugs like quinine, you have morphine, and poisons like atropine. Cell membranes are semi-permeable. So first let us understand what does it mean by permeable. Permeable means that allows solvents and solutes such as ions and molecules to pass through them. Now in case of the selectively permeable membrane, what happens? Then certain solutes cross the membrane freely, some with certain assistance and others do not cross it at all. And the membrane which doesn't allow to any of the solutes, neither with the assistance nor freely, that is known as impermeable membrane. But the plant cell membrane is semi-permeable, remember that. So next is they exchange, allow the exchange of materials, because as you know that it is selectively permeable, so it allows certain things to exchange. Right? So this helps in the exchange of material. Then comes the homeostasis. All the plants and animals, it means all the living organisms, maybe small or big, they must regulate their internal environment to process energy and ultimately to survive. So it means if their internal body temperature or internal environment is disturbed, then they will have some physiological issues and which may be even fatal, right? So this ability of organisms to maintain the internal level or the internal stable state by adjusting themselves according to the external environmental changes, so that the body maintains the optimum level of functioning. This is known as homeostasis, and the cell membrane plays this important role. Okay. Now the next comes nucleus. So the nucleus, the functions of nucleus. Nucleus is most important part of the cell. First of all, the structure. So it's a large spherical body which is generally lying at the center of the cell in case of plants, and it is covered by a double membrane. Nuclear membrane is porous, which allows the transfer of products from inside the nucleus, that is nucleoplasm, to outside, that is cytoplasm. Understand that within the cell there is a fluid which is cytoplasm, and in that cytoplasm is embedded the nucleus, and inside the nucleus is a fluid which is known as nucleoplasm, right? The nucleoplasm contains one or more nucleoli and network of chromatin fibers. Okay, and its functions are like it controls all the cellular activities. Now, what are these cellular activities? The cell division, active transport, reflex action, that is nerve impulse, muscle control, then coordination, and also plays an important role in cell division. So metabolic activities are metabolism is a balancing act involving two kinds of activities that go on the same time. The first one is building up the body tissues and energy stores like synthesis of proteins and amino acids, and this process is known as anabolism. Second is breaking down the body tissues and energy stores to get more fuel for the body, and so that to provide the energy, and that is known as catabolism. So these two activities, this function is controlled by nucleus. Second comes the cell division. Okay. Then it also plays an important role in cell division, that is the multiplication of cells. Then it performs the, it has a nuclear membrane which is porous, and it is made up of, as I told you earlier, that it has a nucleolus and the chromatin fibers. Now we will study about the nucleolus. Nucleolus can be one or more, and they are without membrane. The cell. You know, remember that nucleus has a nuclear membrane, but nucleolus is without any membrane. Then the chromatin fibers. As I told you, within the nucleus there is nucleoplasm, that is the fluid, and in that fluid are embedded nucleolus and the chromatin fibers. So nucleolus you have studied. Now the chromatin fiber. What are these chromatin fibers? They are thin, as you can see, they are thin thread-like structures composed of DNA, and the full form is of DNA. DNA is what? Deoxyribonucleic acid and proteins. So these fibers condense and form a short, thick chromosome during the cell division, and it becomes visible, clearly visible. DNA or deoxyribonucleic acid is the hereditary material in humans and almost all the organisms. All the hereditary characters are passed on from one generation to another generation through this DNA only. So nearly every cell in a person's body has the same DNA. The information in DNA is stored as a code, which is made up of 4 chemical bases, and these 4 chemical bases are adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine, so which are denoted by A, G, C and T. Now functional segments of DNA are called genes. Generally one gene controls one or more cell functions, but sometimes a single function is controlled by a set of genes. Okay. Now this chromatin fibers, as I told you, they have the DNA and the nucleosomes. Let us have a quick recap of what we studied about the chromatin fibers. That is, they are composed of DNA and protein, the chromosomes visible during the cell division, and the DNA transfer hereditary information and functional functional segments form gene, and normally one gene controls one or more cell functions, and sometimes certain functions are controlled by a set of genes. Correct? Now let us study about the another important cell organelle, which is vacuole. Now vacuoles are they have no fixed shape or size, and their shape and size can be varying. It can change. They are the storage sacs, bag-like structure for solid or liquid content. Then the body, they are bound by the single one-layered membrane. All the vacuoles are bound by single one-layered membrane, and they maintain the osmotic pressure of the cells. And they are vacuoles are normally large in plant cell and very few and temporary in animal cells. In a plant cell, they are, because of that, they feel like a swollen cells, and it gives them the rigidity that the former structure as well. Now they start the function. Other functions are like they store metabolic byproducts, metabolic byproducts and the end products, which can be glycogen, proteins, water, etc. They also maintain the water balance within the body and store the waste products and food in animal cells. For example, amoeba is a unicellular organism, and it stores food in it, so that is also known as food vacuoles. In animal cells, the function of vacuoles is to sequester the waste product. It means to isolate the waste product from the remaining cells. Now comes the chloroplast. Chloroplast is a type of plastid. So first understand what are the plastid. It is a green colored plastid. I will explain you what the plastid is. Plastids are double membrane structures and are of two types. They are chromoplast and leucoplast. Right? Chromoplast contain colored pigments, due to which leaves and flowers get their color. You know that flowers are of various different colors. So these colors are given by the different colors of chromoplast. As chloroplast gives the green color, carotene pigment gives the orange color, and xanthophyll gives the yellow color, chloroplasts have the ability to convert themselves to the other type of chromoplast. For example, the ripening of fruit. You must have seen that when they are raw, at the time they are green in color mostly, and when they are ripened, at that time they turn into different colors, like oranges, and apples become red, mangoes become yellow, that way, right? So these are all the due to the ability of chloroplast to convert themselves into the different other type of chromoplast. Leucoplasts are the white or colorless plastids, which are involved in the synthesis and storage of various kinds of food like starch, oil, and proteins. Plastids can self-replicate due to the presence of DNA and ribosomes. Remember that the plant cells have their own DNA is present in them, and so they can self-replicate, and they have the protein forming base, that is the ribosome as well. So each chloroplast has two distinct regions called grana, and the singular of grana is granum, and stroma, the colorless proteinaceous matrix within the chloroplast. Okay. This matrix contains various photosynthetic enzymes, DNAs, ribosomes, and starch granules. Grana is a stack of thalcoids, which are the disc-like structures which contain chlorophyll and other photosynthetic pigments. Grana are connected with each other through the intergranal lamellae. These are the fine structure. Now the function of the chloroplast is to trap the solar energy and convert it into chemical energy in the presence of sunlight and carbon dioxide. This energy is stored in the form of bonds produced during the synthesis of food. Thus, it is the chlorophyll or the chloroplast that is responsible for the preparation of food in plants. Chlorophylls or the plastids, they are present only in the plant cell. They perform photosynthesis, correct? and energy they are called, thus they are called as energy factories of the plant cell as well. Now the next comes endoplasmic reticulum. So what is this endoplasmic reticulum? Endoplasmic reticulum can be of two types, that is smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. So first let us understand what is smooth. Smooth is fats and lipids. Its main function is to form fats and lipids. And second is rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is responsible for the synthesis of proteins. Endoplasmic reticulum is large network of membrane-bound, fluid-filled, interconnecting tubules-like structures on the sheets which are spread from the nuclear membrane to the plasma membrane. Their function is, it is a framework that supports the cell, right? Basically, the conduction of proteins, and as I told you, in the rough endoplasmic reticulum for the protein synthesis, and smooth endoplasmic reticulum for fats and lipid formation. Also, toxins that have entered the body through food, air or water are made water soluble by endoplasmic reticulum, and then they are flushed out of the body. Okay. This rough endoplasmic reticulum gets its roughness or the rough appearance due to when we see through the electron microscope. That is because of the presence of ribosomes. The ribosome is a complex molecule made up of ribosomal RNA molecules. RNA is ribonucleic acid, and proteins that form a factory for protein synthesis in cells. In 1955, George E. Palade discovered ribosomes. Now, Golgi body or Golgi apparatus. First described by Camillo Golgi, a German scientist, it comprises of 5 to 8 or more sacs called cisternae. These sacs resemble deflated balloon-like structures which are placed approximately parallel to each other. And these cisternae are filled with the different types of enzymes. Enzymes are a substance which are produced by the living organisms, which acts as a catalyst to bring about a specific biochemical reaction in the cell. The Golgi complex is considered as the packaging and forwarding department of the cell. So, as you know that there is some production is happening in some factory, and that material is then packaged, that product is packaged and then transported from one place to other. The same function as the food prepared inside the cell that is packed and the transported through by the Golgi bodies. Yeah, right. We can say that Golgi complex is something like a packers and movers of the cells, chemical factory of the cell. Golgi apparatus helps in formation of cell wall and plasma membrane. It produces vacuoles and secretory vesicles. It also modifies and sorts and packs materials synthesized in the cell, which include enzymes, mucus, proteins, pigments, etc., and dispatches them to various targets like plasma membrane, lysosomes, etc. Then comes how this transfer takes place. That is, rough endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus, when at work, how do they perform the function? Here what happens, there is nucleus, rough endoplasmic reticulum, vesicles, Golgi apparatus and cell membrane. The proteins and lipids built in the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, that is SER, and RER, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum, they come out enclosed in vesicles and move through the cytoplasm. When they reach the Golgi apparatus, they fuse with the cis phase, that is formation phase of the Golgi apparatus, Golgi membrane, and empty their contents, all the contents in the cisternae. As they pass from fold by fold, they are biochemically modified and by the enzymes present inside the cisternae, and are packed again in the form of vesicles, and these vesicles exit from the transphase, that is the maturation phase of the Golgi bodies, cell coils, right? So these vesicles and vacuoles are membrane bound sacs that function in storage and transportation. Other than the fact that vacuoles are somewhat larger than vesicles, membranes of vesicles can fuse with the plasma membrane or other membrane system within the cell. Next organelle and most important, very important organelles of the cell, which is the powerhouse of the cell, that is mitochondria. It is the powerhouse of the cell. It has double membrane structure. It performs the function of proteins, lipids and carbohydrate synthesis. They are lesser in number than in plant cells. Mitochondria are less in number than the animal cells, and the RBCs are absent in mitochondria. Just find out why they are absent and what will happen if RBC is present in mitochondria. Okay. Each cell requires energy, and this energy is produced in mitochondria, and hence mitochondria is called as the powerhouse of the cell. Singular of mitochondria is mitochondrion. Under the electron microscope, mitochondria is seen as a double membrane structure. The outer membrane is porous. Porous means it has pores in it, and the inner membrane is deeply folded. It has various folds, as you can see here in the structure. These folds are called cristae. The inner cavity is filled with the proteinaceous gel-like matrix, which contains ribosomes, phosphate granules, and DNA. Therefore, it can produce its own proteins. It oxidizes carbohydrates and fats in the cell with the help of enzymes. The energy released in this process is stored in the mitochondria in the form of ATP. ATP is adenosine triphosphate. Now the function is, first you have already known that the production of energy rich compound, that is ATP, and second is synthesis of proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, etc. by using the energy which is stored in the form of ATP. Now the next is lysosome. So lysosomes are simple single membrane bound sacs, and they are very few in plant cells. Various metabolic activities going on within the cell produce lots of waste. Right? So they break down the macromolecules, and they are the cell's waste disposal systems. This waste is digested by these sacs. Lysosomes are filled with powerful enzymes made of RER. They are made by RER, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum. Due to the presence of these powerful enzymes, they can break down and digest organic matter. Other than disposing the wastage, it also repairs the cell membrane and fights against the foreign particles. It protects the cell by destroying any foreign particle of any foreign material like bacteria and viruses that invade the cell. They remove worn out cellular organelles and remove all the organic debris collected inside the cell. This process is called autolysis. So what is autolysis? Autolysis is the removal of the worn out cellular organelles from the cell. So they are called the demolition squads as well. When a cell gets old or is damaged, or lysosomes burst and they die, there are enzymes present in the lysosome, they digest the entire cell. Therefore, lysosomes are also called as suicidal bags. So during starvation, lysosomes digest stored proteins, fats to supply necessary energy. So this was all about the plant cell, cellular structure of the plant, and all the organelles, their structure, their functions, etc. Hope you have understood. It may brought some clarity and you liked the video. The video is not yet ended. There are certain very important things coming up. But before that, I would like to say that if you have liked the video, please hit the like button and share it with the maximum number of people so that they get benefited with it. And I would like to request you, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to it now and press the bell icon so that you get the notification as soon as the new video is uploaded and you don't miss anything. Also, I would like to tell you that I would love to connect with you on Facebook and Instagram. We have 2 pages on Facebook and 2 pages on 2 handles on Instagram as well. Now something to think about. This is for you. Think why. In the RBC of humans and other mammals and plant cells like sieve tubes, nuclei disintegrate. Second, shape of RBC is circular biconcave. WBC can change their shape. RBCs don't have mitochondria. Tadpole has a tail but frog doesn't. What happens to its tail? So you have to find out these answers. Few more questions are coming. Find out which is the single largest cell, cells that can change their shape, longest cell in human beings, and who discovered cell, and where do the fruits and vegetables get their color from. So find the answers and write in the comment box. I'll be to hear from you. And then here are, if you have forgotten, I am giving the links here for my Facebook and Instagram pages. Feel free to connect. I'll be more than happy to connect with you. See you soon. Till then, goodbye.